So this is this is a more complicated way to get to the concept of a paleo diet, right? At the end of the day, that's the logic of paleo, is let's eat the way our ancestors ate. But paleo, as we know it now, has an odd anti-grain kind of mentality. Whereas in fact, grain consumption has gone back at least 33,000 years. There's evidence of bread making in Iran. And what we have evidence for is probably it probably wasn't the first bread making event, right? If we have evidence of bread making going back 33,000 years, there probably was going on for a long time. Now, we don't know whether fermentation happened first for alcohol production. Actually, I've got a couple of sourdough starters here that have generated an alcohol on top by being left out on the counter. And whether the pro-social aspects of alcohol consumption were the thing that slanted us toward fermentation and bread was discovered afterward, or vice versa, whether we started making bread and liked the flavor of fermented risen loaves better. We don't know which one came first, but we know that around the same time, 12,000 years ago is the oldest estimate we have, we started fermenting bread. Bread making in terms of flatbreads, unleavened bread, goes back even further than that. There are evidence of sorghum-based tuber flatbreads in Africa, actually going back maybe 100,000 years. So the idea that we evolved in a grain-free consumption environment, I think, is a outdated concept that came from old research suggesting that human beings started consuming grains after we settled down from a nomadic lifestyle. So that settling into an agricultural or agrarian lifestyle with settled cities, we estimate that happened around 10,000 years ago. And I think at one point we thought that was the point at which we started eating grains. Now there's evidence that nomadic societies were eating grains long before that, in fact, eating fermented grains and breads long before that. And I think that turns the paleo idea a little bit on its head, this anti-grain kind of mindset. That said, a lot of people get benefit from going off grains. And I think that the reason that benefit is felt is that we are avoiding modern grains. Modern wheat was not around 33,000 years ago in our nomadic societies. We did not evolve with modern wheat. That, at best, we're talking about 8,000 years ago. And the super modern wheats, the easy to farm, high yield, dwarf varieties that they only grow up to this high so that an industrial scythe can cut them without a person being involved, those are like 50 or 60 years. So going off grains may provide a lot of people with benefit only because the grains themselves have changed. And that may be true for other things like apples or modern fruit, where the older varieties have kind of fallen out of favor. They're harder to process or require some more care or attention, and yet the more modern versions may not be as healthy for us.